The blood-red sands of Varus, 9 shimmered under twin suns, dry and cracked like ancient parchment. Towering spires of obsidian ringed the arena, their jagged edges casting long shadows across the colossal Colosseum where the galaxy's most feared predator stepped forward. General Vaelith of the Vhorkan elite, 7 feet tall, crimson-skinned, eyes like molten gold, drew her twin blade spears and roared. Another hunt. Another human. This one, the announcer croaked in dozens of languages, was a combat-born earthling. They always were, these humans. Captured, plucked from backwater wars and sent to the arenas, promising thrill and profit. Vaelith did not care for profit, or honor, or the roar of the crowd. She hunted for the kill. Always had. From the age of 10 cycles, when she slayed her first captive in the wild pits, Vaelith had never lost. Not to a Kralon, not to a Mechari, and certainly not to a fragile-boned human. The arena's gate hissed. Out walked her prey. She blinked. Not armored. Not heavily muscled like the last few. This human was lean, mid-20s perhaps. Unarmed. "Let's get this over with," Vaelith growled under her breath and charged. Chapter 2. The human with no fear. Elias Ward stood perfectly still as the alien thundered toward him. Dust kicked up around her massive form. She was fast, terrifyingly so, and yet something in him stayed rooted. Not bravery, not stupidity, something else. He closed his eyes the moment before her spear arced down, and then opened them again when it didn't strike. Vaelith froze, blades inches from his skull. Her breath came ragged. Her instincts screamed to finish it, but something in the man's stillness had made her falter. She snarled and knocked him to the ground instead, pressing a foot against his chest. "Fight," she hissed. "No," Elias said calmly. "Then die." "I will. But not today." She leaned closer. "You are not like the others. And you're not as empty as you pretend to be." That struck her. She roared, half in rage, half in confusion, and turned away. The crowd booed. Some shouted for her disqualification. Vaelith, for the first time in her career, did not finish the kill. She walked out. Chapter 3. Unwanted Thoughts. Back in her chambers, Vaelith paced. What had just happened? That human, Elias, hadn't resisted. No fear in his eyes. Only acceptance. He had seen her. Not just the predator. Not the champion. Something else. She slammed a fist into the wall. Weakness. Well, this wasn't weakness. This was curiosity. A word she'd never liked. A word that her people punished. Curiosity was the seed of empathy. And empathy was treason to a Vhorkan. But she couldn't stop thinking about him. Chapter 4. The Price of Mercy. 3 nights later, her command was summoned. Elias had been recaptured, assigned to a new hunt. This time with a pack of hounds, brutal cybernetic beasts bred for pain. "Let them tear him apart," one of her sub-commanders laughed. But Vaelith didn't laugh. She left before she could think too hard, and ran toward the lower pits. She reached the observation deck just as the hunt began. Elias was bleeding, barely dodging as 2 hounds flanked him, and Vaelith moved, leaping into the pit, ignoring alarms, ignoring protocol. She landed with a shockwave, spearing one hound mid-leap. The other circled her warily. "What? Why?" Elias gasped, pinned behind a rock. Vaelith didn't answer. She took the second hound down with a savage twist of her spear. Blood soaked her armor. Then silence, except for Elias's ragged breath, and the howling uproar from above. Chapter 5. Fugitive. They escaped together. It wasn't hard. Vaelith still had command clearance, and most didn't believe she would really turn against her people for a human. But the cameras told the truth. She had spared him twice. And now she had saved him. A Vhorkan treason punishable by execution. They fled into the wild crusts of Varys 9, where the land cracked open to volcanic gorges and ash storms raged for hours. Her ship was weeks away, grounded in a covert bay on the far side of the planet. Too far. They'd have to survive. Together. Chapter 6. In the ash fields. Vaelith walked ahead. Elias followed. She barely spoke. He talked too much. "Did you really hunt people like me for sport?" he asked on the second night by the fire. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Why?" She didn't answer. Instead she asked, "Why did you not fight?" He shrugged. "What's the point in fighting someone who doesn't want to fight? You weren't angry. You were just playing a part." She looked at him sharply. It was true, and she hated that he saw it. "There's more to you than war," Elias said gently. She looked away. "No one has ever said that to me," she admitted. Chapter 7. Wounds and Truths. The fourth night she was injured. A native beast, all fangs and acid, caught her off guard. She killed it, but its claws sliced deep across her side. She collapsed by the fire. Elias rushed to her side, tearing cloth into bandages. "You shouldn't be helping me," she rasped. "And yet here I am. I've killed your kind." "I know." He wrapped her wound. "But you saved me. You didn't have to." Something shifted between them. Trust, maybe. Forgiveness. Oh. Chapter 8. The edge of the world. Days passed. They moved through molten valleys and thunder cliffs. Once enemies, now partners. When they finally reached her ship, scorched and half buried in lava rock, Elias stared at it in awe. "You're leaving the system?" he asked. "They'll hunt us both," she said. "If we stay. You don't owe me anything." She stepped closer. "I do. For every human I killed. Cannot undo it. But I can change what I become." Elias nodded slowly. "I believe you." Chapter 9. The Return of the Hunter. Just before boarding, the sky lit up. 3 Vhorkan patrol ships. They had been found. "Run," Vaelith ordered. But Elias stood his ground. "I'm not leaving you." She drew her weapons, wincing at her still healing wound. 3 warriors landed. Old allies. Now executioners. "Vaelith," the leader snarled. "You bring shame. I bring choice. There is no choice in honor. Then I choose dishonor." The battle was fierce. Vaelith fought like a storm. Elias helped, grabbing a fallen plasma staff and striking when he could. 2 Vhorkans down. The last lunged at Elias. Vaelith took the blade instead. Chapter 10. A Life for a Life. Elias caught her as she fell. Blood, dark purple and hot, seeped into the sands. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." She smiled weakly. "You saved me." "You idiot," Elias choked. "You could have left me behind. I never wanted to be what they made me. You weren't. Not at the end." She closed her eyes, and then opened them again. He had sealed the wound, poured all his energy into stopping the bleed. And she survived. Epilogue. A new hunt. 6 months later, the stars whispered of a new ship in the outer belts. Its crew. Hybrid pair. Human and Vhorkan. Their mission. Not war. Not death. Peace. Vaelith sat in the cockpit, gazing out at uncharted systems. Elias stood beside her, hands folded behind his back. They'll still come for us, he said. Let them. She looked at him, her molten eyes softer now. I used to hunt humans for sport, she said quietly. But one of them reminded me I was more than a weapon. And I used to be just another soldier, Elias replied. But one of you saved me too.